Go ahead, Karthik.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My name is Karthik.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnupada Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pracharana Nirvisesa Sunibari Pasate Siddharani Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Vaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Krishna Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Vaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Today I'm going to be reading from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila Chapter 3. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay at the house of Advaita Acharya. Text 51 to 75. All the vegetables were served in pots made of banana leaves taken from trees producing at least 32 bunches of bananas. These pots were very strong and big and did not tilt or totter. All around the 3 eating places were 100 pots filled with variety kind of vegetables. Along with the various vegetables, a sweet rice mixed with ghee was kept in the new earthen pots. Earthen pots filled with highly condensed milk were placed in the 3 places. Besides the other preparations, there were chipped rice made with milk and mixed with bananas, and also white squash boiled in milk. Indeed, it is not possible to describe all the preparations that were made. In 2 places, there were earthen pots filled with another preparation made with yogurt. Sunbiz, a sweet meat made with curd and banana. I am unable to describe it all. Upon the stack of boiled rice and all the vegetables were flowers of tulsi trees. There were also pots filled with scented rose water. There were three sitting places where soft cloths were placed. Plus, Lord Krishna was offered all the food, and the Lord took it very pleasantly. It is the system after offering food to perform Bhogarati. Advaita Prabhu asked the 2 brothers, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, to come see the Arati. The 2 lords and all other present went to see the Arati ceremony. After Arati was performed for the deities in the temple, Lord Krishna was made to lie down to rest. Advaita Acharya then came out to submit something to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Advaita Prabhu said, My dear lords, kindly enter this room. The 2 brothers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, then came forward to take the prasadam. When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu went to accept the prasadam, they both called Mukunda and Haridas to come with them. However, Mukunda and Haridas, both with folded hands, spoke as follows. When Mukunda was called for, he submitted, My dear sir, I have something to do that is not finished, that is not yet finished. Later, I shall accept the prasadam. So you two Prabhus should now please enter the room. Haridas Thakur said, I am the most sinful and lowest among men. Later I shall eat one palm full of prasadam while waiting outside. Advaita Acharya took Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within the room, and the two lords saw the arrangements of the prasadam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was especially very pleased. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of all the methods employed in cooking and offering to Krishna. Indeed, he was so pleasant that he said frankly, I will personally take the lotus feet of anyone who can offer Krishna such nice food and place those lotus on my head birth after birth. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the room, he saw 3 divisions of food, and he knew that all of those were meant for Krishna. However, he did not understand the intentions of Advaita Acharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, let's sit down in these 3 plants and we shall take prasadam. However, Advaita Acharya said, I shall distribute the prasadam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought that all 3 servings were meant for distribution. Therefore, he asked for another 2 banana leaves, saying, let us have a very little quantity of vegetables and rice. Advaita Acharya said, sit down here on the seats, catching their hands. He sat them both down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it is not proper for a sannyasi to eat such varieties of food. If he does, how can he control his senses? Then when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept the food, he had already been served. Advaita Acharya said, please give up your consonantal. I know what you are, and I know the confidential meaning of your acceptance of the sannyas order. Advaita Acharya thus requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to eat and give up juggling words. The Lord replied, I certainly cannot eat so much food. Advaita Acharya then requested the Lord to simply accept the prasadam without pretense. If he could not eat it all, the balance could be left on the plate. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I will not be able to eat so much food, and it is not the duty of sannyasi to leave remittance. In this connection, Advaita Acharya referred to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating at Jagannath Puri. Lord Jagannath and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are identical. Advaita Acharya pointed out that at Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate 54 times a day, and each time he ate many hundreds of pots of food. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karthik. What did you like from your reading? Anything was interesting?
That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate 54 times a day. Jagannath Advaita Acharya pointed out that at Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate 54 times a day.
Wow, nice, yeah. And he said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Jagannath. Yeah,
Not.
very nice. Thank you, Karthik, for reading. Okay, so it's a simple section today. So what we heard last time, the context of this chapter was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling after taking sannyas. He was attempting to travel to Vrindavan, and then we heard that Nityananda Prabhu diverted him with the help of cowherd boys to tell him that instead of sending him to Vrindavan, they directed him to go towards Shantipur. And then we heard how Advaitacharya came in a boat and took Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the boat back to his home, Advaitacharya's home, which is in Shantipur. And we heard in the last session that Advaitacharya's wife, Sita Thakurani, she cooked lots of foods for offering to Krishna. And especially, but however, when Advaitacharya Prabhu invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he told him, we have only simple offerings like palm full of rice for you and couple of vegetables like that, simple vegetables like that. But then we heard so many offerings already last session, and then we're continuing today with more items being described. What all were there cooked by Sita Thakurani, and what all were offered to Krishna, Lord Krishna. So, uh, so while we hear these verses, one of the things to make note is that the devotion of the person who cooks such offerings for Krishna's pleasure like that. That is one aspect to remember always. That when somebody has so much love and devotion, only they can make so many offerings for Lord like that. So, and then there's another lesson. One in this section, there's only one big purport. We'll discuss that also about the mood of a Vaishnava and a general principles for a sannyasi like that. Those two principles we'll discuss in a purport also. So going to the 51st verse. That's where we started today. Let me go there. Yeah. Basically, remember in the previous section, we are thinking why they were mentioning that banana leaf pots made from banana leaves are coming from a tree that has produced at least 32 bunches of bananas. The reason is given here. That indicates that those banana leaves are very strong, and the pots made from them are very strong and big and did not tilt or totter. They're robust enough, basically. That's the point. That's the reason that was mentioned. So in this verse, it's clear. Now, um, so all remember there were three places were made, right? In the last session, we were discussing how the entire food that was cooked made into three divisions: one in a metal plate and two on a palm leaves, like that, banana leaves rather. That's what we heard. And the one in the metal plate is for offering to Krishna. That will be described again in this section also. So that's what it's saying. Around the places, there are hundreds of pots filled with different kinds of vegetable systems, means vegetable subjects. And then not only vegetable subjects are there, different varieties of there, but there are also sweet rice mixed with ghee was there. And that was specially kept in new earthen pot, it seems. Apparently, that's a that adds a special flavor. Even in Jagannath Puri, some of you might have gone where you go to Kirchur Gopinath temple, they offer sweet rice, that kheer, in a earthen pots also, for even for devotees who are coming, Mahaprasad. They offer it to Krishna like that, and then offer them to devotees also. And then earthen pots were filled with highly condensed milk, also were placed, it seems. And then, apart from that, there were chipped rice made with milk and mixed with bananas, and also white squash boiled in milk. That also is there. And he's saying at least a couple of times that he's not able to describe all the preparations that were made. So many preparations were made, basically. And then, in two places, there were earthen pots filled with another preparation made with yogurt, sandesh, and banana, it seems. And then also each of those stacks of rice had flowers of tulsi trees. That means the tulsi flowers that we get on tulsi plants, right? Those were offered on each of the stack of boiled rice and all the vegetable systems. So then also there are pots filled with scented rose water. So now text 57 describes that there are three sitting places that were made with soft cloths were placed. Like when pujaris offer in the DT altar also, they make a sitting place also along with the, you might have noticed, along with the plate, offering plate, they also make an off asana or sitting place for the deities to sit and have prasadam like that. So the three such places were made, and Lord Krishna was offered all the food, and it's described Lord took it very pleasantly, and that means Krishna accepted it. And then let me see 57. Yeah, no purport yet. And then after offering the boga, Advaitacharya performed the boga arti, the arti ceremony. And interestingly, he invited both Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu to come and observe the arti also. That's a matter of etiquette. When we are performing arti even in our home, when guests are there, we at least inform them that we are going to perform arti. So they have a choice whether to come and attend or not, of course. That etiquette we can maintain. That way we're giving opportunity for people in our home, family members and others, that opportunity is there to attend arti. Of course, if you're blowing conch shell, that's implied, of course. Then uh, the Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu went to see the arti ceremony upon the invitation of Advaitacharya. And then it's described that after the arti is done, Advaitacharya put Lord Krishna deity to rest, and Advaitacharya came out to request Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what did he say? My dear lords, kindly enter this room, the room where he kept the prasadam ready. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu came forward to take the prasadam. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu went to accept the prasadam, they both called other associates who were there, Mukunda and Haridas Thakur also, to come with them. But this is where the humility of Mukunda and Haridas Thakur will see. Mukunda and Haridas, both with folded hands, spoke as follows. Folded means they're not just saying, I don't want it. Not like that. With respectfully, they're saying, not now like that. Let us hear what they're saying. Mukunda said, my dear sir, I have something to do that is not yet finished. Later I shall accept the prasadam. So you two propose should now please enter the room. So directly told nicely that I have some work to do. After that I'll accept prasadam. You please continue like that. He excused himself. He didn't want to eat with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu directly like that. He didn't feel qualified like that. That's a mood of humility. And then Haridas Thakur also said, what did he say? He says, I'm the most sinful. Papista is the word is used. Prabhupada has a purport for this. Oh, actually, Prabhupada has a wonderful purport. Yeah, for this verse only, yes. He says, I'm a papista, most sinful. And then also uses the word adama, lowest among men. That's so Haridas Thakur is thinking. Actually, Haridas Thakur is the greatest Vaishnava. But he's thinking himself like that, most sinful and lowest among men. And he says, later, I shall eat one palmful of prasadam while waiting outside. So, why he's saying that he'll go eat outside the palmful of little prasadam? That is Prabhupada elaborates in the purport. Basically, in those days, Hindus and Muslims were living together in very friendly manner it seems. However, even though they're living together in friendly manner, but there are still some principles followed, like some distinctions were made. Muslims were considered low-born or yavanas. So whenever a Muslim was invited, they would be fed outside the home, it seems. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, uh, even though they personally invited Haridas Thakur, out of great humility, Haridas Thakur thought that I serve the Muslims, so I'm not qualified to take prasadam like all others. So I should also take prasadam outside the home like that. That was the mood Haridas Thakur maintained. In fact, we know later on, Advaita Acharya Prabhu recognized Haridas Thakur as the greatest Vaishnava. When he was doing Shraddha ceremony for his father, he actually offers the first offering to Haridas Thakur. Normally, first offering is given to the best Brahmana, like that, high class Brahmanas like that. But in this case, he offers it to Haridas Thakur. The meaning of that is, Advaita Acharya recognizes that Haridas Thakur is so exalted Vaishnava. But even then, um, so in order not to disturb the social tranquility, Prabhupada writes, So Haridas Thakur kept himself in the position of a Muslim outside the jurisdiction of Hindu community. That's another important thing. So just because we're recognized by the immediate associates, immediate friends as a great people, and they might be okay for us to transgress some of the social etiquette, but we should be careful on how others are perceiving it outside the immediate community also. So that's the example lesson we can learn from here. Not only the mood of humility of Haridas Thakur that is immediately evident, but also the social customs, we should not violate them, because people cannot understand why somebody is deviating social custom. So Vaishnavas generally don't try to give a chance for others to mistake Vaishnava and then thus offend them like that, right? Because it's only harmful for the person who is criticizing, who is thinking badly about Vaishnavas like that. So Prabhupada concludes this purport saying that although Vaishnava may be very advanced spiritually, he keeps himself extremely humble and submissive. That's the most important lesson from this section today for us, that we always remain humble and submissive. E- Even if we think that we have achieved so many things in devotion service, even if we think that we have grown so much in devotion service, even if we think this place for spiritual master so much, even if we think that our spiritual master considers us a great disciple, wonderful disciple, still we remain humble and submissive before Vaishnavas like that. So now that is one aspect. Now 64th verse. Then Advaita Acharya took Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within the room, it seems, where the prasadam was kept. And the two lords saw the arrangement of prasadam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was especially very pleased. Why was he pleased? Prabhupada writes in the purport. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw that somebody has so much devotion to prepare so many nice varieties of prasadam for Krishna, not for his pleasure, not for his sense gratification. Somebody prepared so much nice bhoga and offered to Krishna. That is why he was very pleased about after seeing that offerings. Actually, in the next verse, it's described also more details. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approved of all the methods employed in cooking and offering food to Krishna. And he was so pleased, he said, frankly, I'll personally take the lotus feet of anyone who can offer Krishna such nice food and place those lotus feet on my head birth after birth. So uh, actually it's important that whenever we cooking food is not for our pleasure. Primarily we cook in the mood of pleasing Krishna first, and then we take part of the remnants offered from Krishna. That's why we make the best offerings to Krishna. That is the mood we should carry. So obviously at our current stage, we'll have the consciousness that I'm going to enjoy this after Krishna enjoys like that. That's okay, but at least before cooking, we pray to Krishna. Krishna, I want to cook this for you, for your pleasure, like that. So even though our mind initially, before when we were selecting vegetables, we might select according to the taste of our children, taste of our husband or wife, like that, and we select the right quantity, how much we can eat as a family, like that. But still, our primary consideration is first Krishna needs to enjoy. Then we can enjoy the remnants of Krishna, like that. There's the mood in which we cook and offer the bhoga and accept it like that. Another principle is householders do deity worship according to their capacity nicely. That's one way of engaging money of householders in deity worship and giving charity. These are two main methods described. We should not be stingy. For example, if you have enough capacity to offer nice flowers to Krishna, we can offer them like that, for example. Okay, next is text 66. Yeah. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the room. He saw there are three divisions of food. Interesting, see, he knew all of those are meant for Krishna. However, he did not understand the intentions of Advaita Acharya. So he did not think, oh, these are for my enjoyment. He immediately thought these are for Krishna, like that. That's the consciousness we can see. So now this is versus the purport, short purport. So Advaita Acharya's intention was that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu also eat. Basically, he kept the three separate offerings, one with metal plate that was offered to Krishna, and then two offerings on banana leaves, right? Those two were for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. He didn't disclose the intention. So that's why Lord Chaitanya thought it's for all are for Krishna only, like that. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, let us sit down in these three places and we shall take prasadam, like that. So then, however, Advaita Acharya said, I shall distribute prasadam. No, there's a little confusion here. But essentially, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying that we'll take prasadam. But then Advaita Acharya Prabhu was saying, and now I shall distribute prasadam. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought all these three are meant for distribution prasadam to everybody, not just for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu now. So what did he say? He asked for two separate banana leaves. Like generally we see sannyasis also doing this. Recently, when Siddhartha Maharaj came, he was also doing that. We gave him a full plate of prasadam, but then he asked for a empty plate. And what he did is from the full plate, he took some small quantities that he can accept. And then he gave the full plate back. So that only that much he took, little bit. Like that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking two banana leaves. And then he says, let's have a very little quantity of vegetable and rice. Like that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say. This is another principle we can learn. Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot imitate Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also in a sannyasa order. That's another important thing to note. But we should take prasadam as much as we can accept, not too much that we have to leave the prasadam and waste the prasadam. That's a principle we can follow as a devotees. Now, text 69 is describing, that Advaita Acharya Prabhu said, just sit down here on these seats. And he caught their hands and he allowed them to sit there basically. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, it's not proper for a sannyasi to eat so much varieties of food. If sannyasi eats so much food, how can he control his senses? Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu objects. So this is the wonderful purport that has a big purport in the whole section. This is the one verse that has big purport. This is also reading purport for today, but I'll describe the essence of it so you can read it also. Basically, the two main themes that are being covered in the purport by Prabhupada. One is sannyasis need to eat uh, simple foods and not so many varieties like that. That's one principle is describing. Not very, very palatable dishes like that. That's so Prabhupada describing the purport. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu want to show that by his example. Because Vaishnava cult is Vairagya Vidya, as renounced as possible, like that Prabhupada is describing. And in fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uh, instructs Raghunath Das Goswami also not to eat very palatable foods, not to wear very nice garments, and not to talk on mundane subjects. Those are three instructions that Prabhupada is reminding us in the purport. So those are all prohibited for sannyasis like that, especially. So now, but Krishna should be offered nice foods, nice things. Those nice things, remnants can be given to householders, like that Prabhupada is describing here, not to sannyasi like that. But a humble Vaishnava, when he gets such nice things, he will think that, oh, my body is material and nasty. I don't want to accept such preparations for myself. I will offend lotus feet of Krishna, like that. That is humble mood Prabhupada is describing the purport for us. So now, when we hear these pastimes, these are meant for sannyasis for sure. But then that's the mood of sannyasi. But then when we get an opportunity to feed a sannyasi, like the way we Advaita Acharya offered, we need to offer the best possible but we have from our side. But sannyasi has the mood that he want to accept the most palatable foods like that. Those are two things we remember. Of course, we also respect the mood of the sannyasi also, what he likes also. Not just because we want to offer opulent food. Even if he says, I want only this particular diet, we don't go overboard saying that, no, you should accept this like that. Those are three things to remember to combine to follow our own sannyasis. Now, coming to grihasthas don't need to follow so strictly. But then what we need to follow strictly is that we accept only Krishna Prasadam, not any other food that's outside. Now, only food that's cooked by devotees ideally, and then that's offered to Krishna. That is what we accept. That is what we strictly follow grihasthas. It's not so important that we control the kind of palatable foods that we eat. But as we grow in bhakti, of course, there's a natural detachment that comes. Then it's encouraged that we don't emphasize so much on eating always only the opulent foods like that. That naturally can follow. But the Purusas generally are encouraged to focus on positive attachment to Krishna, not on the high renunciation like sannyasis. But that doesn't mean that we should be in the mood of enjoying always. We should be careful as we grow in bhakti. We can watch out our enjoyment tendency, and then we can follow some austerity like that. That is the principles we can take from this verse. Now, 21st verse, uh, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept what has been served, Advaita Acharya said like this: please give up your concealment. I know what you are, and I know the confidential meaning of your accepting sannyas order. What does he mean by this? We remember from Adilila, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas order in order to benefit others. So when they pay obeisances, people who are Mayavadis, when they pay obeisances of sannyas order, for his sannyas order, they'll get benefited like that. So they will not offend him also like that. Because those days sannyasis were respected. That is what is being described. Another aspect is, he knows, Advaita knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord himself. He doesn't need to follow the austerity of sannyasi. That's what he's describing here. Please give up your concealment here. Or in one of the verses, he talks about don't eat prasad, accept prasadam with pretense, like that in 23rd verse. That's what is meant by that. That is saying that you are Supreme Lord, I know anyway. So you can enjoy like that. That's what he's telling here. And 72 verse, Advaita Acharya requested Lord Chaitanya uh, to eat, and then Lord replied, I can certainly cannot eat so much food. Now he's talking about the quantities. Earlier he talked about quality of the offering, so many varieties of food, right? Now he's talking about so much quantity I cannot eat like that. Then Advaita Acharya says that let us say, please eat without presence. That means you're Supreme Lord, I know you can accept. But let us say you cannot eat it full. Then you can leave the balance on the plate itself, like that he's saying. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu counters that with an argument. He says that I cannot eat so much food, and it's not a duty of sannyasi to leave remnants. So generally, Prabhupada quotes a Srimad Bhagavatam verse from 11th canto in this purport to indicate that sannyasis generally take alms from householder's house, and then they offer it to Vishnu, Brahma, and Sun, and then they eat the entire offering without leaving anything for others to eat. It's generally, that's a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, Prabhupada quotes. Of course, then how do we see when sannyasis leave some remnants for our benefit? We should see they are so compassionate that they're actually leaving some remnants for our benefit, for our progress like that. Because they know Mahaprasadam of Vaishnavas is beneficial for us to accept. That's how we need to consider. Not that, oh, see, sannyasi is making fault like that. No, we need to accept their following. Their compassion is such that even they're leaving remnants for our benefit like that. So the last verse for today. So then Advaita Acharya refers to what Karthik was describing, that he is telling that he knows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Lord Krishna and Jagannath. So he says that at Jagannath Puri, you eat 54 times a day, and each time you eat many hundreds of pots of food. Like that is Advaita Acharya is pointing out basically that your Supreme Lord, you have the capacity to eat. Please go ahead like that. He's encouraging him. So actually, this sort of pastimes are repeated in Chaitanya Charitamrita many times actually. We'll see as we go. So we'll pause there. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer business devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kupasindubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.